Good morning once again. In the last class, we have seen how we are arranging the data. The first example, as usual, was the raw data that we have seen like this, in which we don't need to place any table. Directly, we can find the mean, median, and mode using the data. Then came the next example, where we had 30 values. So we tried to form this frequency distribution table, which is ungrouped. There was no grouping at all. Simply we have found some values were repeating again and again. We counted those numbers and we formed this frequency table to make the data compact. Then came the next example in which we had hundreds of values and with minimal repetition. So that method was not applicable over here. So we went for grouped frequency distribution for this case. Now, if you see, this is number of plants. They are saying 100 plants each were planted in 100 schools during one Mahotsav. After 1 month, the number of plants that survived were recorded like this. Class, tell me one thing, that the number of plants survived will be natural number always or can be real number also? Please tell me, can we get any value in decimals also in this case? Can we get, because number of plants will always be a natural number, so we will always get values like this only. So in this case, we can go for the first case, that is that inclusive group distribution. And yesterday also we have done, what do you mean by inclusive distribution? In this, we are using or we are including both the limits. Lower limit to upper limit is the class interval. We have to include lower as well as upper limit in this case. Okay, so let's see. They have made like this 20 to 29. So this way they have formed. You can observe this is the lower limit, this is the upper limit, and these two are different class. So can we say these are continuous limits? Can we say these class intervals are continuous? Class, these class intervals are not continuous because the first is ending at 29 and the second is starting at 30. Again, the second is ending at 39 and the next is starting at 40. So these class intervals are not continuous. Second thing, in this case, that is not also required because we have included both the limits. So if the value, that is the number of trees survived, is 29, that will be counted in first class interval. If the number of trees survived is 30, that will be counted in second class interval. So there is no issue because we will not get any value between 29 and 30. Class, can we get any value like 29.5 in this question? Can we get any value like 29.5 trees survived? No. That's Anuranjan is saying yes. Anuranjan, no beta. How can you get 29.5 trees alive? A tree is not like half alive, half dead. So we will have either 29 or 30. So all the values will be accumulated in this table easily. So we are not losing even a single value. So this kind of table is fine over here. That is inclusive table is fine here, no issue. But in the next example, we will see that this inclusive table or non-continuous table will create some issues in some cases. Let's see. Whose camera is on? Bhavya Yadav. Bhavya Yadav. The camera is on. Okay. Raghav Goyal and Ojaswini. Fine. Now, in the next example, they are saying, let us consider the following frequency distribution table, which gives weights of 38 students of a class. Now we have weights of students, and we all know that weights can be natural number as well as decimals also. We can include in these. So from 20 to 29, 20 will also be included. Yes, beta. In this inclusive type, both the limits are included. So if the interval is like this, that means if there is a value 20, that will be counted in this group only. If there is a value 29, that will be counted in this group only. That is why we call it inclusive. Both the limits included. Okay. Now, example number 4. Let us now consider the following frequency distribution table, which gives weight of 38 students of a class. Now let's see. This is a table. They have made it earlier only. So you can say this table is right now inclusive one. Class, can you see? This table right now is inclusive. Why? Because it is not continuous. You can see 35 is ending in the first class and 36 is starting in the second class. Similarly, it is ending at 40, starting at 41. So there is a gap between the upper limit of first class and lower limit of succeeding class. That means this is inclusive. Now, eventually what happened is, after this table was formed easily, new students came to the class with the weights these 35.5 and 40.5. The problem is where to place these two students. Can you tell me in which group can we place these two students? Any idea? Any idea where we can place these two students? Please tell. So they will not come in any group. The reason being there is a gap between these two, and in the gap only it can be placed here, and the next one is 41 to 45, the third class. It can be placed between this, but nothing is between them. There is nothing. So what to do? We have to make them exclusive. The issue will be resolved as soon as we make them exclusive. To make them exclusive, we have to make these two same. What do you say? To make it continuous, we should have the same upper limit of preceding class and same lower limit of succeeding class. Now the issue is how. Yes, Vaishnav has got that. So we have to see one thing, that there is a gap of what? Class, what is the gap between 35 and 36? What is the gap? Please tell. The gap is of 1. So we have 35 on one end of the hill and 36 on one end of the hill, and there is a distance of like 1 kilometers between them. So they can do one thing, either 35 can come to 36 or 36 can come to 35, or both can come half the distance. Both can come half the distance. So which one is better? Both coming half the distance or one completing the complete distance? Half the distance is better because that will not hurt anyone. So we have to add and we have to subtract. So tell me, what will we do with the upper limit? Will we add or subtract? Please tell me. What will we do in the upper limits? Will we subtract 0.5 or add? We have to add because 35 has to move forward. So we will add 0.5 in the upper limits of all the intervals, and we have to subtract 0.5 because 36 has to go backwards. To make the intervals continuous, someone has to go forward, someone has to go backward. So 36 is going backward by 0.5, so we have to subtract 0.5 from the lower limits. What do you say now? Will that be fine? So let's try by subtracting. What will be the first interval? Class, please tell me. If I subtract from lower limit 0.5 and if I add 0.5 in the upper limit, the interval will become what? So what if we take 35 instead 36? Not getting Utkarsh. 35 instead of 36. Okay, after this I will take a. So it becomes 30.5 to 35.5. Next becomes 35.5 to 40.5. Then becomes 40.5 to 45.5 and so on. So you can see now the intervals are continuous. The first one is ending and the second one is starting at the same point. Now no value will be, but you say, lost in between. So we can include any value now in these intervals. So this kind of distribution in which we have continuous is known as class exclusive class intervals. In exclusive, we have to exclude which value? Lower limit or upper limit? Any idea? As the name suggests, we have to exclude one of the value, lower or upper. Tell me which one we will exclude. We will always exclude the upper limit. So if the value or the weight of the student is 35.5 kg, will it be placed in the first interval or second? Please tell. In which interval we will place this student of weight 35.5 kg? We have to place this student in second group. He will come in, no, just no, it will not come in the first group. Please try to understand. In the exclusive, we take these values, lower limits, and we exclude the upper limits. So if 35.5 comes, it will not come in the first interval, it will come in the second interval. Similarly, this student 40.5 kg, this student 40.5 kg will come in which interval? Second or third? It will come in third group. Very good, Janya. Very good to see that you are participating. Others, please try. Okay, Prisha, good beta. It will come in third group. So this is the concept of exclusive distribution. The benefit of exclusive is no value is lost in between. Mainly and mostly we will be making each and every table exclusive because we don't want to lose any data in between. This is a continuous one, this is the better one and the latest one that we are using right now. Okay, let's see the example completely what they have done. So this is the method that they are doing. First they have seen the classes, then they have seen the gap is of 1. In case the classes were like this, 30 to 34 and 34 to 38, sorry, 1 second, and 36 to 40. Suppose this was the classes, then what would you have done? Yes, better Vaishnav, it is better. Please tell me class, how will you make these intervals continuous? What will you do? Again you will see the gap between the two hills, that is the upper limit of first and the lower limit of second. Tell me what will we add and subtract this time? Please tell. Bhavya, good. Others, please try. So we have to see the gap is between of 2. So right now you can say it is like having a gap of 2 kilometers between two hills. So both of them will move 1 kilometers. So we have to add plus 1 in the, no, Yuvika, not 0.5. Try to see. If you add only 0.5, still they will not meet. See, now the gap is changed. Yuvika, now the gap is changed. In the previous question, the gap was of 1, that was 1 kilometer. If you see in a hillway, right now the gap is of 2 kilometers. Here we have 34 at the end. Here we have 36 at the starting. They both have to meet. If you move only 0.5, 34.5, and if this moves 35.5, still they will not meet. because the values are not same. Yes, beta. Janya, now to the first group completely. We add in the upper limits and we subtract in the lower limits. Yuvika, please tell. Now is it clear to you why 0.5 will not work? Yuvika, please tell. Sir, it's 35. Okay, you are taking the example above one. Na? No, I have changed the example for you just to give you an insight of how questions may come in the examination when the gaps are more than one. In that case, you have to consider the same thing. As the gap is of 2, they both have to move half the distance. So 2 upon 2 is 1. That means 1 moved by 34 to the right and 1 moved by 36 to the left. So the interval will becomes like this: 29 to this becomes 35 and so on. This becomes 35 to 41 and so on. Things will be changed. Now it is fine, Yuvika? Yuvika, now is it fine? Okay. So this way you have to see the lower limit of one class and the succeeding upper limit, and then you have to subtract. The difference was 1. They have taken its half, that is 0.5. Then they have added 0.5 in the upper limits and subtracted 0.5 from the lower limits and found these intervals. And finally they made a new table, this one. This is the new table that they have formed. After that, they have counted which students are coming in those groups and they formed the table. Okay. So I hope all the concepts are covered now. And I request now it is 8:29. Question number 1 is simple, based on that only, in which you will form table like blood group in the first column. The second column you will form telemarks, and third column you will form frequency. So first you will fill these two columns. Suppose there are 4 only: A, B, AB and O. Now easily you can count and cut these value so that you are not confusing yourself. After that you can find the table. Okay. In these kind of questions, concentration is very important because at any time you may do the mistake. In question number 2, they are saying the distance in kilometer of 40 engineers from their residence to their place of work were found as follows. Construct a grouped frequency distribution table with class size 5. They are fixing the class size. You can't change the class size on your own because they have fixed it for the data given above. Taking the first interval to be 0 to 5, 5 not included. They are saying 5 not included. That means it is which case? Inclusive or exclusive? Please tell. If they are saying you have to make an interval of 0 to 5 and 5 should not be included, that means it is the case of exclusive and you have to make continuous intervals. So please tell me, if first interval is 0 to 5, the second one will be what? After this, what is second interval in this case? If first interval is 0 to 5, the second one is 5 to 10. It has to be continuous only. Next will be 10 to 15 and so on. You can form. The next table will be of telemarks and then finally we will have the frequency. Okay. I hope this one will be easy for you. Question number 3. The relative humidity in percentage of a certain city for a month of 30 days was as follows. So you can see these are in decimals only. So we have to take continuous intervals. Construct a grouped frequency distribution table with classes 84 to 86. So directly they have given you the example of exclusive one only. So you will form the tables and then you will cut these values as you have counted them. Okay. After this, you can answer these two things. Question number 4 is similar. So try at least 5 questions if you have not done. And if done 5 questions, try to complete the exercise. Tomorrow we will have the doubt session. So let me stop the recording.